when is the right time to buy real estate? Like whenever you're ready, right? You know what I mean?
All right, guys, welcome. I don't know what camera to look at, but we're looking at all of them.
It's like Wayne's World.
Wayne's
camera
World.
1, camera 2,
Swing.
camera 3.
So this is episode 4 of the Valley-Wide Agents podcast, the greatest real estate podcast
That you never knew about.
in Arizona. I am your host, Charles Barrett, joined by...
I'm Joshua Carpenter.
And we are real estate agents here with Valley-Wide Agents. So let's jump into it. We have a great show for you today. We have some news headlines that are coming down from Washington. We have some local market details. And we also have some really hot takes on some local spots here in the Valley that you should check out. So let's first get started with the national.
And we are biased, so if you do have any suggestions, put it in the comments so we can go there and actually talk about this place, because we are kind of hyper local here in the West Side.
Yes.
So if you're in Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, Scottsdale, you got a local spot. We prefer mom and pop spots.
That's why it's called Valley-Wide, though. We want to include all of Arizona, even the east side of the airport. So first local trend is from AZ Big Media. We have an article here as far as the hottest housing markets in Phoenix. So do you know what the hottest market in Phoenix is right now?
My guess was an outlying area, like Buckeye, Maricopa, something where there was like high levels of affordability.
Yes. So,
but I was wrong, apparently.
Well, so spoiler alert, Josh has seen the article. But ultimately, what it comes down to, in Arizona, they measure, and again, every hot is relative, right? Is how are they measuring? So what they're using to measure this, as far as the hottest area as of right now, year to date in Phoenix, is a special zip code. And I want you to guess what city this zip code is in.
You're never going to guess it.
You might guess.
Put it in the comments.
If you've been paying attention. Nobody's going to go to the comments if they're watching the video. I'll tell you. So the hottest zip code, if this is your zip code, let me know. It is 85303. That is in the city of Glendale.
Glendale?
That city saw an upgrade or an increase of housing of over 50%, like 50.8 in 2024.
The second one... A 50% increase of closed transactions.
So that many people are buying. Next, you have Midtown and Uptown Phoenix. I don't know.
That makes sense.
How they quantify
Those are the little
that.
districts, like in Northern Phoenix.
Oh.
And, yeah.
So that's why Josh is here.
Yeah, like right there.
And then West Deer Valley area saw a 23% increase in closed transactions, 2024. So I do want to take back what I said for year to date, because this is from 2024.
It happens.
Why do you think Glendale is up like 50%?
Well, it's important where that's located. So that's one thing that I asked is, where is 85303 in Glendale? Because Glendale's a rather large zip code. So I think you said it's on the map right here. So basically...
So I looked at it. You can't see it here, but the bottom corner of this, if you guys are watching on the map, we have it up. Excuse me, if you're listening and not watching, I should say. So this is like 67th and Camelback. Okay. That bottom right-hand corner or left, the most eastern part of that corner. And then that top part is 75th or 83rd in northern. When I say top, I mean the most western part. So that's kind of the square. It goes up a little bit more north of that, up to Grand. But what do you think about that pocket?
I think it's because of the State Farm Stadium, because we've got the stadium here. We have all of that, all the new amenities, all of the new shopping that's coming through there. So I think you're right. I think that the Super Bowl helps. I mean, we've had the Super Bowl, twice now in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
We have the Andretti F1 or whatever it is, kart experience, Top Golf. So there's a lot of people that are coming to the Valley that are learning about these areas. So I'm thinking there's going to be more Airbnbs.
Do you think these are all investors?
I don't. I think that there's a lot of people that just want to be close to that lifestyle.
Yeah. I would personally... I don't have anything to base this on other than just, speculation. But
I could tell you 67th was rough for a minute.
I mean, they got a roller coaster coming in. They got Vi Resort over there.
That's right, Mike.
They have, what else is it? They have Top Golf is over there. And Great American Furniture is supplying all these places with furniture for their housing.
And if you're bored, go to Great American and just use the massage chairs.
That's a pro tip. Okay.
That's a date.
I like it.
You go get something to eat, and then you go to American Furniture and just...
Little giant tigers in there.
Yeah, you just chill out. Let everything digest and go.
So there's a dude, I don't know if he's still there, but he has a bunch of tattoos. Nicest guy in the world.
Jason or whatever. It starts
That
with
is his name. I think
yeah.
his name. If your name's not Jason, I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
he
he's a
helped.
good dude.
He helped us with like a bunch of our office stuff. Actually, pretty awesome dude. And it was in that area. So I think it's a mix. I think you have a lot of mom and pop investors. I have a few clients that have purchased in that area second homes just to rent them out too. So I think maybe not institutional investors, but a lot of mom and pop investors are over.
Well, shout out to A5303 because Glendale needs it. Hopefully it turns the area a little bit.
Yeah, there's some older homes on there that people can rehab. A lot of sweat equity that you can put into properties.
Absolutely. It's a good spot.
So going on to our next section, it's our market update. So just so you guys know, this is for the Phoenix area, just Maricopa County. It's not Pinal County. But this is where we stand for single family homes. So if I'm looking at this up on the screen, actually, let me have you drive. What sticks out over here for you?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Charles. For me, it's month of supply of inventory, which is up 46%, which obviously would trickle into pending sales being down 31%.
Yeah. And then
So those are the two just massive numbers that look crazy to me. And the same thing with the inventory being up 43%.
That's huge numbers. And for you guys, if you're really looking at stats and numbers, I love data. So I like to tell people what this data, what's the, what
does it mean,
the container
Charles?
of it.
What does it mean?
Before we get there, we have to quantify this data. So this is February 2024 compared to February 2025, which was last month, right? So we put all this stuff together to say, hey, where are we now reporting in March? Where are we at for our housing market? So if we're looking at the increase of inventory, we're looking at the months of supply, we're at 4.4. So that means it would take 4.4 months of selling at our current rate for all the homes that are currently for sale to disappear. And when it comes to how many homes is that, well, right above it, if you're looking at this, there's 20,000 homes for sale right now. That's 43%, just like Josh said, more than before. So it's still, even though there's more homes,
It's crazy.
yeah, we're still at 4.4. A healthy market is 3 to 6 months. I've been saying this for years. There's data, you can see this. A healthy market is 3 to 6 months, and we're still not necessarily in a buyer's market, but there's some areas, there's some pockets where it's 100% a buyer's market. There's some areas where it's 100% a seller's market. Your product, your type of house plays a role in it in the supply and demand chain. But when we're looking at the averages, this looks like a balanced market finally.
I agree with you. And I think that number of months of supply to quantify is really dependent upon the pending and closed sales. So when you see negatives around pending and closed sales and you see the months of supply increasing the way that we are, what this tells me is if you're looking to sell a home, if you're waiting for the top, we hit it.
Yeah.
We've hit it. And I do agree with you. There are more pockets that are more prone to a buyer's market. But as far as for us in our business and what we're seeing with our clients that are in the car that are buyers, we're getting so much done for them. And it's just a breath of fresh air.
People are negotiating again.
People are negotiating, and the sellers realize that we are at the top of that market. And for those sellers that are sitting on those 4% interest rates, that is perpetuating as well, because some of those people have just been waiting to move because they haven't had choices, reasonable, attractive choices for them to move to abandon their 4% interest rates, 3% interest rates. So I'm really excited to see kind of how things play out. But these numbers of months of supply, inventory, pending sales, I mean, it's just shocking to me to see some of these mid double digits adjustments and everything else is just so small.
Something else that really sticks out to me is, in spite of all of this, it does show that the market is still increasing as far as our average sales price.
I'm telling you, it's the sellers. We're pretty much at the top.
It's just
a matter of time before that has a negative on it.
I don't know, man.
If the buyer confidence, we did run a stat that I don't think we're gonna show it, but pending sales for March are already higher than what they were in February. So I do think that the spring selling season and the buyers are starting to come around a little bit.
Yeah, this is the time that typically more homes are sold and more buyers are buying. And when school
Get
gets
up
out,
off of the fence, buyers.
We
Get
were-
off of the fence.
so we were listening. I don't know how, but there was a song that was playing that was like, "Get up off that thing." That's
That was some funky.
it's all stuck in our heads.
Put you in a house.
When I'm looking at days on market, we're still up 10% also. When I started real estate, which is not terribly long ago,
It was a decade.
2013 is when I was licensed. I was 26 years
So
old.
young.
Because there's that question that they ask you, what is the article of the Arizona Constitution and what does it say? Well, the article is Article 26 of the Arizona Constitution that says that real estate agents can write binding contract law, just so you know. If you ever need that question for a test, that's how I remember how old I was. But when I started, the average days on market were around 90 days, so still under where we are now. But it's so crazy to see how many sellers are freaking out and are going crazy that their house hasn't sold in a day, in a weekend, a month, which we still know how to do, by the way. But ultimately what happens is this is all par for the course. If you're a seller, you're looking at the average price still going up. The days on market are just kind of anecdotal. You just got to prepare and plan for it. And then when it comes to our months of supply, you're still within healthy ranges. So if you're thinking about selling, when we're looking at the supply and demand curve, one thing that doesn't show in these numbers is that most of the people that are buying homes have a house to sell. So you can't see how many people are looking to buy. You can only see how many buyers are buying. But when you see this number increase as far as the amount of inventory, amount of homes for sale, those people are going to still need a place to live. Most of those numbers aren't investment homes. There is a group of it that are, but most of those are actual people who are moving from one place to another for whatever reason.
I love market data. I think it's great. I think that this goes out the window for a lot of sellers because they don't want to hear anything. As far as all they want to hear is they want to get the maximum amount for their home. And this is a level of uncertainty for us as realtors, which is like pushing the envelope for a sales price in a neighborhood, which we all take great pride in through marketing, through great strategy. It's becoming increasingly difficult because of the inventory that's increasing. So I think if you are on the fence about selling, it's extremely important that you understand that like no one's trying to give your house away. You are subject to the market the same way that you are in any other market. And we've been extremely spoiled in terms of the selling side of our business for probably 4 years to where you could put a home on the market, receive multiple offers potentially, more likely than not. Nationwide, we're still in a housing shortage. So that is encouraging, which is why we see a lot of the institutional builders now transitioning to single family residence communities that are for rent. There's one of them actually popping up in Glendale.
They want everybody
Yes,
to
exactly.
rent.
They want everybody to own nothing and we'll be happier. But due to that shortage, we're seeing so much rental inventory coming into the market. So again, if you are looking to sell, realize that we are at the height and it does take some time. And you really have to just be honest with yourself as far as what you're putting on the market as well. I think we all have a high level of pride when it comes to our property. So just being honest with what we have, because again, we're not looking to equity strip anybody in a situation, but the reality is that we have got to, the days on market is extremely to protect those for us as agents, because if you are buying and you're looking at a home that's 120 days on market, what are the questions that most buyers ask? Like, what's wrong with it? Why is it sitting so long?
That's true.
Are they willing to take $50,000 less? Like these are things just through habit because the buyers don't really know the market. So for me, it's just extremely important that we keep up on the market updates because the stats don't lie. And, you know, we understand you only get to buy it once and you only get to sell it once. So if you are kind of entering into the market this summer, I think it's a really good idea for you to reach out and talk to us because we want to put together a good action plan and really help you stay on top of this, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to enter the market when the median list price and the median sales price have negatives next to them, because then the market is correcting the other way. Right now, it's still up at 3% for the median list price, almost 4%, and the average sales price still up at 7%. So we're still pretty strong and solid in that. But once you enter the market into negatives, this looks completely different.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking about selling this summer, making a move, reach out to us and give us a shout, because we don't know. We can't control when this.
That's a crazy soundbite.
What's that?
That you don't want to enter the market when these numbers are in the negative.
You don't want to enter the market. If you're trying to sell a
positive.
property, you don't want to enter the market when these numbers are negative. So I like to take a realistic approach to this. I think that both of us are solution-based. We're not trying to divvy up problems or deliver bad news. We want to make it as enjoyable and as successful as possible. But at the end of the day, information is key when you're looking to make a decision. And quite honestly, most of our peers don't use this information.
They just take pictures with their phones.
They take pictures with their phones, or they'll get a professional photographer out and they'll kind of guess it's a moving target, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, we need to have some science to this. And this is why I love doing these market updates with you, because the numbers don't lie.
This is my favorite part.
I agree. There's context, and it's not you, it's the association pulling the actual numbers. So if you want a copy of this as well, reach out to us and let us know. We'd be more than happy to get you a copy.
We'll put a link somewhere.
Somewhere.
Click around. If you don't see it, then
snoop around.
Try to make it easy.
That's right.
So moving on, next thing we got is an article from Realtor.com. We turned a she shed we found in the Home Depot parking lot.
It just says shed. He added the word she.
Into a 2-story home. I don't know where she came from.
You gendered up the shed, dude. You can't do that nowadays.
So this is...
That shed has a mustache.
This is a photo. If you guys can see this, this is a photo. It looks like a 2-story home. And the article goes on to say that people didn't believe that it was really a shed. It was like, they said, it doesn't look like a shed.
That just looks like a nightmare of a seller.
That looks like,
let's be honest.
It looks like it gets hot.
A guy that takes a shed.
This is a picture of the shed at Home Depot.
A guy that takes a shed and throws it up on 2 stories. This man or woman is extremely proud, and they're gonna be like, I want $700,000 more than anybody because I turned a shed.
There's a whole foundation. That's like they built it. There's a hot tub on there.
That's it. It's so.
There's a back patio.
Jeez.
And then I think there's a picture of the inside. Look at this. So they actually.
Probably nicer than the main house.
They did a pretty good job.
That's nicer than the main house.
So there's this is the main house. This is the main house. The woman said, anything I want to do, my husband will make it happen. He's just got that brain. She sounds like a joy. This guy sounds like the dude, if you're a kid and you want something, they have it at home.
No. This is the guy. This is the guy that's quiet and his wife is just talking and running around and he just does it.
We're not going to stereotype here.
I am, for sure. I have plenty of friends that are that guy and they're amazing people.
So
Making all of us men look bad.
So the question is, would you live, and this is obviously not Arizona because you would die in there without
it. Had HVAC, I saw it.
But you need like some hardcore insulation. Like there's a lot of things. If anybody has a shed, no matter how cool you make it, you can't comfortably live in it without caving those walls in and bringing them in a lot more.
I feel like that's livable. But
look how many trees are there.
It's beautiful. Where is that? Oregon?
Are those shadows of power lines on the...
Actually, look at the mountains in the back. Are those mountains? That's probably Utah. Final answer. Utah.
We can find out where it's from, but...
So Dawn Cook and her husband turned a shed into a...
East Tennessee.
Ooh, so far away. Wrong side of the coast. Man, I was
Would you guys live in a shed that looked like a house?
I mean, that's one question, yes. Would you live in a shed that looks like a house? I mean, that was a nice shed.
It's a beautiful shed.
It's a nice shed.
One of the best sheds I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's a good pivot because right now in Arizona, last year or the year before, they approved ADUs, which is what? Accessory
dwelling units.
Accessory dwelling units. So this is a big deal because now you can take, and we will have somebody on that talks about these units at length as far as what that looks like. But for you folks in Arizona, you now can put a secondary dwelling on your property. And this is a big deal because people in California have been doing this forever, renting out portions of their property in the backyard to create passive income, moving in family members. There are loans that you can take out against your property to build these. The city zonings have become much more user friendly, where
Yes.
before we had very aggressive setbacks.
They had to match the house. They had to look a certain way, built from the same materials.
The list goes on and on.
Not anymore.
They've really loosened up on this. So a lot of that is to do with affordable housing, probably even just increasing use for people. I mean, obviously it increases wealth. I follow several people on social media that on their own personal homes, they've put 2-bedroom ADUs on their property. And
I'm going to say it.
they're renting out for like $2,000 a month.
I think it's the best investment you can put on your house right now.
I don't think, I mean, if I had an option between a swimming pool and an ADU and I had room, I would do an ADU just for passive income for sure.
Yeah. And then when you sell that house, not as many more people are going to have that ADU that are going to have a swimming pool. So your house is going to be very unique. So if we go back to that last slide and we look at supply and demand, well, you have a different product. There's a lot more demand and a whole lot less supply, because how many homes have you been in that have an extra casita?
And with people working from home, self-employed, you know, more people now doing like lashes, eyebrows, like you name it, tattoos, the list goes on and on. So again, I think it's very, very generous for the state to do. I'm a big proponent of it. It just increases your flexibility with your property. So it's a great change that's happened. The adoption rate is slow, but it's definitely increasing as more people talk about it. We have more blended families now living together, especially since COVID. Multi-generational, which is why next gen homes are popular. So, if this is something you're interested in as well, reach out. There are programs. There are approved units already through cities to make your build times easy. It's just crazy. That's absolutely insane. But as far as a 3-story shed, never seen that in Arizona.
Yeah, and if you guys know any great companies, we're talking to a couple right now to have them on our podcast. But if you guys have any recommendations, or you or somebody has put in an ADU, good or bad, please let us know. We would love to interview you.
I would love to show pictures of a bad ADU.
I'm sure they're out there. So the very last thing we always have is a local spotlight and a local highlight. And today
this feels really fast. It feels really fast.
It is kind of fast today. I think we're flowing. When you're having fun, time kind of flies. But today we're going to highlight Tomo Japanese cuisine. Tomo is a sushi place?
I mean, according to this, it's a Japanese cuisine restaurant, but they are the most generous with sashimi. If you eat raw sushi, Tomo is your spot.
So I mean this with love. Tomo is the only place that I know that people do not go there for the service. No one has ever told me they were so great taking care. And I say this out of love. When my wife first told me about this place many years ago, every person I've ever talked to is like, the food is so good. It's such a great value for the price, and the food is so good. Nothing else matters. So we went there.
It is dark.
It's super dark. It's good dark though.
It's a good
It's
dark.
not too dark. I can see my food.
Yes. No readers or flashlights required.
Yeah. I like it.
I agree. We usually sit at the bar, so the service is fine.
And we sit down faster.
And yes, we sit down faster. But my thing about Tomo is, hands down, I love Yellowtail Sushi. They are providing the best quality. They get their fish delivered twice a week, which I found out.
We know the days.
What
days are they?
Tuna Tuesdays. And then they do it again towards Thursday, but not tuna. So it's so generous. I mean, the sashimi is amazing. Every time I give somebody a bite of Yellowtail, I wind up having to get another order. They get greedy. I don't mind sharing, but it's a great place. We know the owner. It's family owned. And little fun fact, in the right corner as you're exiting, they sell scratchers. So,
That's
Arizona Lottery on-site sushi, sake. Take a senior citizen with you. They will love it.
the sake is really good. The sake's like cheap. They give
Everybody
you
has
big
a
old
family
bottle.
member that's a scratcher junkie. Like my dad, he's good for 5 scratchers every grocery
Who
store.
doesn't love a good scratcher?
Oh, that man hits, dude. I don't have that kind of luck on scratchers.
Nobody wins on a scratcher.
Pops hits, bro. He hits on scratch. I've seen Pops take away like $1,500 on a scratcher.
What? I've never heard of that before.
Yep, I've seen Pops scratch in $1,500. Boom, got it. Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
I think that in terms of environment, if you just want somewhere new, The orange tea shots, not that I'm promoting alcohol consumption.
We've been talking about sake and orange tea.
The orange tea shots, they're so good there. So yeah, if you guys are looking for a good new spot for sushi and you're in the West Side, we've had people travel actually out just to go to Tomo. I've told several people about it out in the East Valley, and they've made a hike out. I try to go out to their spots. It's a mutual thing, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think Tomo's a great spot. Like you said, sometimes the service is a little dicey, but overall, they're just good people. It's a good little hangout. It's always the same. That's what's good. It's kind of like McDonald's, right? It's just always fresh.
That's true. It's always good.
Boom, boom. It's always good. So I don't know. I genuinely want to get back to just building excitement in this market right now. I haven't been excited in a long time. We went through COVID where people were spending their life savings to get properties, bidding $100,000 over asking cash, waiving all their contingencies, taking homes as is. It was terrible. It was so stressful. And now we're in an environment where we are getting inventory. We are actually looking at 4, 5, 6 homes with a client. And we're able to genuinely work through the purchasing process, see some inventory for their purchasing power. So if you've been on the fence, we are definitely seeing one of the articles that we had earlier is that Phoenix is ranked 4th or 5th in the nation for the lowest levels of inflation. And I truly do believe that homes are expensive, but in terms of affordability, I still Phoenix is in there. And it's all relative, right?
I don't have it up.
So if you are looking, you want to get some mortgage payments, you're interested in different programs, there's a down payment assistance program right now that's offering 5.7%, which is below the market rate right now. That doesn't matter if you have a 640 credit score or a 740 credit score. So they're just programs that are creeping out to assist with affordability. If you do have your own down payment, we're getting interest rates on averages low 5s to mid 5s, depending upon if it's government or conventional. That is a sustainable interest rate for an economy.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody that's waiting for interest rates to go down to 2, 3%, you're literally rolling the dice that the feds are going to reduce the interest rates and create another inflationary season. So we still have money to pay back from COVID. We'll see exactly what happens. But when I look at the market, historically, 5% is a fantastic interest rate.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a matter of being realistic. The 2% interest rates were the equivalent to somebody purchasing a house in 2010, 2012, right? When we were buying houses for 70, 80 grand and people were buying houses. Yeah, they were buying them for less than what it costs to build. So, you get these once in a lifetime events that you kind of see, less than the price to build and less, dang near 0% interest on a mortgage. Like if you're waiting for these once in a lifetime events, you're just going to be waiting and waiting and waiting. And if we do enter into a deep recession, the question is will you have a job? Mm-hmm. So I know when house prices were stupid dirt cheap, the issue was, hey, my job just closed. How many deals did you lose? And I know I lost a ton where people were qualified and then boom, company shut down. They got laid off.
Josh has been licensed a lot longer than I have.
Oh man, I've seen it.
2013.
Dude, it's been around. I was doing mortgages in 2005, so I was part of the problem, but we didn't know any better. You know what I mean?
Josh still has money saved from then.
No, I don't. I have 4 children. So I think that looking at those, man, I remember this. This is what shook me the most. I pulled up to a Circle K. There were 2 families living in their car. Okay. Wow. The guy at the register said, I used to be an executive with a 6-figure salary and now I'm working at Circle K because I can't find a job and I need a job. So that to me was the biggest gut check. Was like, man, yes, things are going crazy and houses are cheap, but like nobody had a job.
Yeah.
Right. And even the mortgage companies that I was working at, I was closing deals within my first 90 days. And then I go and boom, the door would be closed and I wouldn't get paid. I worked at 3 different mortgage shops and didn't get paid for almost 9 months. So again, we all want things to change drastically in our favor because we see our current situation, but we don't really know
what comes with it.
What comes with it exactly with that bag of goods. So right now, I'm okay that inventory is increasing. Things might be softening in some areas. Interest rates are trickling down. I'm a huge proponent, but I really want everybody to win. I want things to be stable. I want families to be okay. And for people to just be grounded and to start building some generational wealth. And we are in that season. I personally have not been looking to purchase real estate because I felt that it was too expensive. But now with the change that we have, I'm starting to look around myself for more investment opportunities. And I know more investors now, which we'll have a guy on, are kicking themselves in the butt for not keeping their real estate that they had. Because that's the biggest secret, right? Is just holding on to your real estate, because we get blindsided or the allure of making $100,000 or $200,000 on a sale. So I think that one of the things that we want to commit to is just quantifying the different aspects of real estate and really, when is the right time to buy real estate? Like, well, whenever you're ready, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, but if you're saying when's the best time for me as a buyer to enter the market, well, how's the inventory? You know what I mean? What's your financial situation? When's the best time for me to sell my house? Well, let's look at the months of supply. Let's look at the average sales price. Let's look at the median list price. Let's look at these factors so that we know. And if we know that we're reaching the top of some of these limits, then we need to have a conversation as far as like, are you going to be cool if you have to stay here for 5 years? And for some of these people, man, it's divorce, it's relocation, it's outgrowing the property, it's maintenance. Deferred maintenance is the biggest killer for a lot of our sales, right? Old AC units, old roofs. I mean, some people are one roof away from bankruptcy. So, it's just important that we identify these factors and we have real conversations, because at the end of the day, we want to provide a solution. So, later this week, we will have somebody in talking about solar. I'm extremely pissed off at our solar situations that we have with our listings right now. So we will be adding value and content in helping you, the consumer, understand what's an appropriate price for solar in your particular APS or SRP, because it is an unregulated industry and people want to pick on real estate commissions, but there are solar people that are charging double for solar and making probably 20 to 30 grand on a solar deal.
So I was a part of a transaction to where the seller was taken over for her mother who had passed and her father who was diagnosed with dementia. A few months prior to this, they had gotten, not even a few months, actually, a few years prior to this, they had gotten a solar deal that the kids didn't know about. They weren't here. They were in a different state. And upon finding out the type of solar deal that they got, lawyers were involved. And this is before it got to me, but the company that sold them solar was such a bad company that the state of Arizona, I don't know the term, but they said you can't do business here anymore doing solar. In addition to that, all the solar that you've given is now belongs to the people you sold it to because you've already made enough money. But this one deal, I'm sure there was more, but this deal was sold to a very prominent solar company that is still around today, from this company that was not reputable. It's just like how they sell mortgages and stuff like that.
They have to service it, yeah.
Yeah, they sold it to this bigger company. This bigger company would not honor the judge's judgment. And when I got into the deal, there was lawyers involved and there was an NDA contract signed by the seller, not myself, saying that they weren't going to disclose this to anyone. Well, some things were a party to the conversation, and there's this thing called the UFCC. It's very complicated, but ultimately there's a lien on the house that the solar company has, and they have to take it off. So the title company has to get with the solar company to take it off. Solar company didn't want to take it off. And not the judge, but the lawyers had to get involved and say, hey, why does the title company need to know about this and have this solar lien taken off? It should stay on the house. Well, they had to. That's just how real estate works in Arizona, but apparently nobody knew about this. The sellers ended up going after these people even more, and then we had the house sold before all this happened. And the sellers said, it's not right. I don't want to pass this on to somebody else. Yeah. And she literally fought the solar company and won. And it took like 6 months, but that's still really fast in legal terms. And she actually got that solar forgiven and actually took care of not only her parents with the wrongs that were committed, but the next person buying that house. So there's a lot of bad solar out there.
A lot of bad solar. So it's near and dear to our heart. Again, solar is a part of real estate. I think that there are some unethical sales clauses. They're being told that it adds value to their home. All of these factors, which for us as agents, we see very few instances where solar is adding value. It's very nominal if there is any.
I don't know. I don't think I agree with that, man. I've seen some really good solar deals.
I'm just saying value in terms of on the appraisal.
On the appraisal? Yeah, they don't count it that much.
I'm not talking about actual monetary value from monthly savings, but from the solar deals that we've seen as of late, because the interest rates have also increased on solar lending, we're seeing some very raw deals.
So
we have 3 listings right now. The average solar is between 220, 253, and 278. The 253 is on a 1,300 square foot house. That's crazy. That's bananas. We got another one that's a little bit larger. It's like 2,500 square feet. And that one's 220. That's probably the best of the worst. And then a 1,700 square foot with $278 a month. That's wild.
I think the kicker is too, a lot of these people have just gotten
done
solar
it within the last 2 to 3 years.
So if you're thinking about doing solar, please call us or somebody before.
Or just check out the video that we're going to do next, where we're genuinely going to break down the cost per kilowatt, how that pertains to you, your property, because I do think that it's such a numerical science that math. We just get sold on a bag of goods like, well, this is just going to reduce, and I'm okay paying $200 a month if that's all I've got to pay forever. Because how many people right now are on the equalizer, right? Where we pay one flat fee and then they'll adjust it based upon usage, right? And I think that's for us for budgeting, because things are tight. That's what we look at. So we want to just add a little bit more value. So as you're making that decision, you can kind of have a metrics. And again, it's unregulated. So, a fair deal at X amount of kilowatt, this company could be coming in at double or triple, and you don't even know. Plus, on top of that, they're financing the servicing interest basically for the install. So a $36,000 solar system is costing $65,000. So it's like there's all of these
crazy.
There's all these crazy things that people are signing up for and they don't realize it. And so we just want to educate you guys. That's all. So, a lot of this market knowledge is great. And if you have solar, we're going to go over the process of what types of solar can you transfer to a new property. There's a lot of things. For me personally, if I have to pay off solar to get my house sold, I'm taking that with me. Like, I'm not leaving that for somebody else to get free power. So, anyways, let's take a look at this. I think the market right now is stable. I think that it's fair on both sides. There's deals to be had on both sides. You can sell at a really good price. And I think that you can find a good property at a good price as well. So if you are selling and you're a little bit cash heavy, you want to rehab a place, or you just want to get a decent deal, there are pockets out there that we can get you a fantastic deal. We just got $100,000 off of a new build. So, there are some deals that are out there to be had, and it's just a matter of working with the right people that are not afraid to ask, because there's no box for offended on the purchase contract. Accept, reject, or counter. That's it. So I heard that from a really good buddy. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, reach out to us. Hopefully this was informative, to say the least. And Charles's she shed, triple story she shed, was definitely interesting.
All right, guys. As always, we spent a lot of time getting everything together for you. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff if you find this helpful. I'll talk to you soon. My name is Charles Barrett.
Joshua Carpenter.
We'll see you next time.